Hello, welcome to my home. My name is Jackie. I have a box. I have a few boxes, but this is a trade. Queen of trades, full on. So I had this really pretty, beautiful pink cranberry Field Tote 22 that everybody has probably seen. Or if you haven't, I'll link it. And my friend from Florida said, "You said you don't use that bag. Would you like to trade?" I'm like, "Yes." She might have offered to buy it. I don't know. I probably said, "Would you like to trade a bag?" Because I really like trading a bag I don't use for another bag someone else doesn't use. Mainly because we all have them and it's fun. And I get to do a video with it. It's way more fun than saying I bought a bag. Anyway, this is the bag. Let's take a look. Now I just opened it on the bottom. It is in a Dooney bag, but it's not actually a Dooney. But I appreciate the bag because as I sell stuff, I always grab one of these. This is like holy grail moment. I have always wanted this bag. I have looked at buying this bag so many times. When these first came out on the market, I was like, I want to buy them. And then I didn't. And it's been a couple of years now, and now they're everywhere, and everybody has them, and I still want one. And look, I got my very first The Tote bag by Marc Jacobs. Now, why I have never purchased one was I didn't like the Tote bag. But this is interesting. This is like a kind of like a painted The Tote bag, but then the Marc Jacobs is stitched. But I love denim bags. I love tote bags. So this is pretty much like almost like a 1-to-1 swap, because I gave her the Field Tote 22. She gave me the Marc Jacobs the tote bag. The difference is this is denim, and the one I gave her is a cranberry leather. But I have had 5 Field Tote 22s because I went crazy and just kept buying them, and I didn't ever use that pink bag. And she had the perfect accessories. Like, she had the strap, she had this cool little dinosaur thing, perfect match, and she's using it. So here is the back. In 1984, I was just a young kid. Let's take out the stuffing, and I'll show you. Ooh, look, she added a Eiffel Tower. I've been to there a few times. I was lucky enough to go there for my honeymoon. We actually didn't go to the Eiffel Tower. I asked my friends, like, can we skip the Eiffel Tower? And they're like, sure. We went to Disneyland Paris. And we went, okay, so I'm just going to add this in this video, since this is here's the strap, this really cool strap. I love the strap. I love the bag. I love everything about this. I'm probably going to move into this for tomorrow, even though I just moved into the other bag. So Paris. How did I end up at Paris on my honeymoon? How did I end up in Europe in general? I was married in Belgium, in Waterloo, by the church. But before that, I was married in San Antonio at the Justice of the Peace. So my husband and I were planning on getting married, and there's a really long, drawn-out story to why, but not why we're getting married, but why I ended up in Belgium. Because originally I was supposed to get married in the same church my mother got married to her second husband, and then they were halfway through the planning process. She moved to Brussels, and I'm like, well, that changes things. So we scramble, and so I have a European family, Asian family, and American family. So because most of my European family was not going to be able to make it to America on the date of our wedding, because we inconveniently planned our wedding for a convenient date that had nobody convenience at all on the other side of the world. So Klaus was working at the UN. He's retired now, and they're in Brussels. So basically, Mom had to scramble to get a house. Excuse me. Plan a wedding. I told Mom, I just want a party. I just want a party. Nothing fancy, nothing outlandish. I'm going to see if I can adjust this so you can admire this pretty bag while I'm talking about everything. because this bag is pretty dang awesome. Let's just change some. There we go. And so there we go. And so we're going to planning this wedding. My grandmother died that spring. My grandmother was 98. She lived a very long life. So I knew my grandmother wasn't going to be able to go to my wedding. I wasn't even going to see her. I was going to actually just get married where she lived and then just go see her in my dress because she couldn't obviously leave, but she didn't make it that long. She would live to be 98, guys. It was a good long life, but I was sad. And then I realized my Thai and Asian family, they weren't coming to America in October. So I told my dad, hey dad, can we just get married twice? And he's like, what? I'm like, can I go to Europe and get married in Europe in front of mom and all the family there, and then come back here and we'll have another wedding with our American family and James's family? And he's like, okay. So he was like, I'm fine with that. So, and he paid for everything. He was just, he was pretty good about it. And he said, okay, will you plan it? Here's the money. And I said, okay, thank you, Dad. And, so we were going to go get married in Denmark, and then that didn't work out. So we ended up getting married in, because we had to go to Belgium. So I had to contact the church, and, it turns out that in Belgium, state, religious officials are not state officials. So we had to get married. We already had to have a marriage certificate and signed it, everything, and be married legally. And then they can do the religious ceremony, and then we would come back to San Antonio and do the blessing of the marriage. So 3 months in a row, we were married. So in September, we were just applying. We went to the JP. We went to the courthouse. We went to go apply, read the rules, looked at it. It says you need to have 3 days to get your license. And so we're going to go register. One day before work, we went to work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we went like, I don't know, 11 o'clock in the morning, went down to the courthouse and talking to the court clerks and looking for the right place, and said, hey, we need to apply for a marriage license. And then we're telling them what was happening, and they're like, you could just go to the JP upstairs and get married today you already have plans. You just have to go in front of the judge, and they had to determine you're not just that we can. They have to say, yes, you can get married, and we can waive the 3 days, right? So we do that. We go up there. First only time I've ever been in a courtroom. As a first time ever in a courtroom for anything. And I walked in there, talked to the judge, and we told him the whole thing, like, yeah, we're getting married in so many months, and we're going to Belgium, and we just need to be married now because they're not state officials. And they're like, okay. So we went to the judge's office. They said yes. We went to the office. We waited for him, paid him, I think, $50, and he married us in his office with no witnesses, because he didn't need witnesses. And we filed it downstairs, and we're like, yeah, we don't have to come back. This is great. We're driving to work, and I'm calling my sister. I'm like, my twin, right? I'm like, hey, Jen, you'll never believe I did. You got married, didn't you? I'm like, what? Yeah. Because I had told them I was going to go get the registered, wait for the marriage license. And she was so mad at me. She was like, Dad, I wanted to go. We wanted to be your witnesses. I'm like, we didn't need witnesses. We just got married. We were so thrilled. I was so thrilled. It was so much fun. And then we get to work, and we were going to work for an all conference call meeting. And I told my friends, like, hey, we got married today. And I'm like, oh, it was so much fun. And then the next month in October, we all flew to Denmark, or we flew to Belgium. I had already arranged to find this church and a priest, and we'd been talking for months and months and months. And he was part of our church, our denomination at the time, and we got married actually in a Catholic cathedral in Waterloo, because the church we are affiliated with, they rented that location. So it was where they were doing services. So it was called the Iron Church, because originally, before World War II, it was a modern church which built of iron. During World War II, it was stripped of the iron and then rebuilt with the rubble that was left. And it looked like it was 1,000 years old because of it was beautiful. And but it was great. We got married. I had dragged my 40-pound dress with me I was in a walking cast, a long story. So underneath this huge ballroom kind of ridiculous dress that was beautiful, but way not what I wanted. That's another story in itself. I looked beautiful. It was a beautiful wedding. The dress was fine. But underneath that dress, I was wearing a pair of blue jeans, a walking cast, and a cowboy boot. Yep. Nobody knew. You couldn't see it. You couldn't see anything. It was like wearing a big old hoop underneath that thing. It was a cathedral length everything. That was the fancy. I felt like Princess Diana. It was miserable. This is not me, you know. But I looked good. Everybody was happy. Mom was happy. We had a whole bunch of people. Mom had drugged me before prepping all this. Like, do you want flowers? Like, no, I don't want flowers. She said, you have to have flowers. Well, okay, what about daisies? No, you can't have daisies. What about roses? No, you can't have red roses. I'm like, okay, we'll pick flowers. I didn't care. And then they picked flowers. And Mom says, well, do you have a cake? We need to get a cake. Like, Mom, I don't want a cake. It's like, no, you have to have a cake. So we had a chocolate Belgian cake. And then the kind of food I wanted was like, I just want Danish food, Mom. And nope, Mom made all this Thai food. I'm like, Mom threw a wedding. It was not a party. I had just wanted a party. Mom was just like, no. We're doing a wedding. And her friends had come. It was a huge event. It was exhausting. I was in that dress from noon until 10 o'clock at night. And then Mom's like, you're going to this hotel, this super fancy hotel in the middle of Brussels. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't care. I just want to go to bed. And we go and we get lost. And it's like, so we find this beautiful room. They upgraded the room because here I am in this giant ball gown of a dress. And they gave us a super designer corner room. It was designed by some famous person and it looked ridiculous because it was this beautiful conch shell, modern, super modern. Here I am in this cathedral, old school wedding gown, and I've been in it for so long that the rib bones, or the ribbing of the corset underneath had pretty much rubbed me raw, and I was bleeding underneath that dress, literally. I was in a walking cast, I was in so much pain. I took off that dress, threw it on this mannequin that was in there, was a statue in there, opened up the windows, because there's no air conditioning, it's October, you know, laid down on the bed and just went to sleep. And it was so loud because this is the high tourist season. People were, well, not high tourist season, it was October in Brussels, but people were out in the touristing areas, and it was loud, and the windows are open because there's no air conditioning, and it's just the way it works, right? So I just go to sleep. I wake up the next day, I'm supposed to put my dress back on, we're supposed to take these beautiful in the public square photos of me in this wedding dress, and I looked at that corset and I'm like, no, I didn't care. You couldn't have paid me. I never wanted to see that dress again. Of course, I'm not done with this dress. I have to wear it one more time. So my mom was none too pleased. She wanted those photos, but we survived. We went home. The next day, that weekend, we drove over, because Belgium, Brussels, and Paris aren't that far apart. It's like a 4-hour drive. We just drove over there. We stayed in Disneyland Resort because it had free parking. It had transport to Paris, so you can just hop on the train, and in so many minutes, like 30, 40 minutes, you're in Paris. We went there. We went to the Louvre. It was my husband's first time ever abroad. It was my best girls, their first time in Paris. We went to the Louvre. I'm still walking around in a walking boot. I'm still in pain. It was like, well, we were 27, you know, when this was all happening. So we were young, and they were just in awe. And I'm just like, y'all have fun. I don't know how we found each other, because we didn't have cell phones, you know. It was just like, this was in 2007, guys. Like, cell phones, international plans, nah. We just kind of said, we'll meet at the square. We'll meet the pyramid. Thank goodness it was like, we found each other because we didn't go to the same places. My friend Ken, he says, I'm over the Louvre. He didn't even like the Louvre. He went shopping on the Champs-Élysées, and my friend and Carol and James went all over. They went to as much as they could see of the Louvre in a few hours. I was like, I'm too tired. I'm going to go look at the Dutch exhibit. The Dutch exhibit might have been a mistake because the Dutch painting was kind of dreary, okay? So, normally when I go to the Louvre, I pick a wing, and I just look at the one wing. Because if you try to do it all, it's overwhelming. So I try to go to places where people aren't there, which means not the Mona Lisa. The most beautiful thing about the Louvre for me is the stone carvings, but a lot of them are like sarcophagi, so that's kind of, I'm on my honeymoon. So anyway, we go walking on the Champs-Élysées, we go find lunch or dinner. We had lunch, then we had dinner, we caught the train. saw the Ark, caught the train, went back to the Disney, had a blast at Disney. We extended another day. We spent a fortune everywhere. It was just a blast. We get back to see my mother, and we find out that my younger sister, who's still living at home, is pregnant. We're like, oh dear. And so much drama. And then, anyway, long story short, there was drama about, is she pregnant? Is she not pregnant? Is she in school? Is she not in school? I mean, it was just so much drama. It's like, I don't even remember, honestly. And, don't worry, everybody's fine now. 15, how many years? Yeah, this is year 16. Ooh. Anyhow, that's how I ended up getting married in Belgium, in Waterloo. And then we ended up flying home, and then the very next month in November, we got married again. And this time, another drama. I wanted to get married to his mother's church, but it was a mission church. The priest they didn't have a priest. I needed a priest. The priest in the church I was attending was a new priest. He didn't want to go all the way down an hour out of town. It's this small little mission church. He was like, no. So I said, fine, well, we can get married here at the church I've been attending for 2 years. And there was so much drama around that after the marriage, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not coming back to this church, because they had some weird rules. I don't want to get into it. They've changed them since then, and it's not the way it was. But it kind of almost felt like they were renting the church out for weddings. And then the church I was going to was over 100 years old. It's a beautiful church. It's a location people wanted to go, but I attended that church. That was my church. And I'm like, how much So anyway, it was, we got married the Friday after Thanksgiving. I'm thinking it'd be great. Everybody's in town. Everybody will be able to show up. That's not what happened. I had called everybody personally. Hey, are you coming? And 90 people RSVP'd, 30 people did not show up. And those 30 people, I'm still salty with, because I called them personally. I would have reduced tables. I would have cut catering costs. Y'all, weddings are expensive. And we didn't even have a full sit-down dinner. This was just a lunch and kind of a tea. Coffee, tea, cake, sandwiches, a huge coffee bar, tea bar. I mean, I figured everybody would be stuffed and full from Thanksgiving, and it was the Saturday. So I figured people would still be in town, so anyhow, it cost so much money, hundreds and hundreds of dollars of money. I could have just canceled 2 tables. I should have, the flower arrangements, I was just like, I am done. And I had to wear that dress again. Oh gosh, beautiful. My American family, my family came from Belmont, came in. It was a lovely wedding. It was great. We had a video thing. We had a projector showing all of the imaging and pictures from my European wedding. So basically I was married 3 times to the same guy. 3 months in a row, and I wanted to elope. I seriously wanted to elope. I asked James, can we just elope before any of this? And he was like, I don't think our family's going to let us do that. And I'm like, I didn't want a wedding. I didn't plan on getting married. I had never, until I met James. I thought I was old. I was 27. I never wanted to get married. I never changed my last name. My last name is my maiden name. I never married. I did marry, and I didn't change my name. We worked in the same place. It was, I thought it was going to be weird. And I didn't plan on getting married. So I this is my name. I never plan on getting married. You know how little girls dream about weddings and changing their name? That wasn't me. I was like, I'm going to be CEO of a company. That was me. I was like, I'm going to have a briefcase. And I was like, very industrious. I was very ambitious, and so getting married, having kids is never one of those things I wanted to do. It's just because I found James, and I was like, okay, I want to keep you. Let's get married. Basically, we decided to get married for several reasons, but mostly it was because we were living together. If something happened to me, something happened to him, we had, as girlfriend and boyfriend, you have absolutely no rights to each other if there's an accident. And at the time, my next of kin would be my father. And I said, I don't want him making these choices for me, because I know if something happened to me and I'm in a hospital in a situation where you have to make these hard decisions, he was going to make the decision that was not my decision. My decision would have been like, I'm good. We're good. Don't unplug. We're good. They would have been like, keep her plugged in forever. I'm like, no, if there's a situation where I'm brain dead, I'm in a hospital, no prolonging of life efforts. I'm good, you know. But so we got married, you know. So and he, I think James just went along with it because he wanted to marry me, and he didn't care how it happened. He was just like, okay, good. She said yes, you know. And so we got married, and we got married 3 times, and we've been married. This is our 16th year coming up, and that's it. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for watching my how we got married video with an unboxing video, unbagging. So hopefully if you were just here for the unbagging, you've gone. And if you haven't gone, thank you for staying around for 20 some odd minutes to listen to my how I got married in Belgium. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.